Perfect. Well, it's wonderful to have you with us today, Marcus. I'm Rebecca Stengel, and I kind of connected with you through a group that I'm trying to start up, recognizing autism and just
Okay.
all of the complexities that go along with it and how we can support people who have the disability
Yes,
or
ma'am.
ability, however you want to look at it, right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
you have quite the story. So I'm glad you could join me today and share with the community that I work with your story because I think it's super inspiring. And I think we all need to hear how we can come through the darkness and find
Yes,
light.
ma'am. Well, I'm
Yeah,
very honored to be on your amazing platform, and to be able to tell my story to the group and to the world. And so,
wonderful. I'm so glad to have you here. Um, Before we get into a lot of the questions, can you just give everyone kind of a brief history of what you do now?
I'm an autism activist. I am an international keynote speaker. I have a clothing line, a shoe line. I have a coloring book that's out. I am currently working on the new children's. Working on a children's book. I'm. Uh, let's see here. I got a lot of stuff that I do currently.
Yeah,
So
well, wonderful. Because I did see that you're a award-winning music producer, right?
I have
And
13 music
composer.
awards. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
And so you've got, just like you said, a whole bunch going on, which just goes to prove where you can go in life. And so we're going to talk a little bit about where you've come from. Now that we know where you're at, like let's talk about like where you've come from and how you got there. So, can you share a little bit with us about what it was like to grow up with autism?
Well, I didn't know I had autism until I was 10. I got diagnosed with autism April 12th, 1993. Clifton Springs Mental Health Center in Decatur, Georgia, where Dr. King, Berta Looper was my therapist. Dr. Carr was my social worker. Bob Ortner was my behavior aide. Now they call him peer specialist.
Mm-hmm.
Anna Gibbs. Anna Gibbs was my therapist. Kimberly Gibbs was my peer speech therapist. And there was a whole other people, Larry King, Deborah White. It was a village.
Yeah, whole
I mean,
community of people.
I
Yeah.
didn't know what autism was. I mean, I come from the projects, I come from poverty, so I didn't know what autism was. And back then, I'm 41, so back then they was not like,
Mm-hmm.
if they had pamphlets or brochures or information or resources, it was not like, well, my mom and my dad can get a copy of it. There was not like groups where you can get supported through the internet.
Hmm.
There was the internet back then, but the
Not the
internet was
same.
it wasn't the same as it is now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, that's I so I come from pray it out or beat it out. So one
Yeah.
of them is going to get out. Either you're going to pray it out or you're going to get beat it out. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm. Yep. Yeah. So I know you didn't speak for a long time. Like, when did you learn to speak? And then did you know as you were growing up that not speaking was different?
no, because again, I come from dead bodies and drug
Mm-hmm.
sales and prostitution, pissy hallways and gambling and stuff of that nature. So, I come from welfare lines. So, me not talking, it was really, some of it was based off my environment. A lot of it was based off the home bringing that I was currently experiencing, the
Gotcha.
horrific abuse that I was experiencing at home. So that really made me close up. And then when I was seeing the way Big Tommy, which is my birth father, when I was seeing the way Big Tommy was reacting to my stages that I was going through, that really made me close up because
Mm,
I wanted him to accept me and love me, but he didn't show me those things.
right.
So it just really made me close up. And then it was like, when you go to the doctor and they say he has severe autism, he's nonverbal, and he's basically the left side of his brain doesn't function correctly as some
Mm-hmm.
of the other children his age range. So again, at that time, my grandmother was short with a J curl The only thing she carried in her purse was a Bible and some holy oil. So, I mean, there was so many doctors in Georgia, and then I'm going from Georgia to New York, being raised. So, you go to the doctors in New York, you go to the doctors in Georgia, and they basically saying the same stuff without basically saying the same stuff.
Right.
That,
Right.
he'll never have communication skills. He will never get an education. He will never be able to live on his own. He will never be able to operate or function as a child in his age group. Now, what we suggest is, because he's having these behaviors at school, or because he's having these behaviors at home, we can put him on new medication that has not been distributed out yet massively.
Right.
And we can give you a stipend, if you will inpatient hospitalize him. That way,
Okay.
we can have full access to whatever tests or whatever medications that we need, that we deem to put him on.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And so you had this basically upbringing where, like you said, they either got it beat out of you or they'd pray it out of you, but that really caused a lot of the behaviors. So then you ended up in foster care at one point, and from there ended up being adopted. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I never got adopted. I was in adopted lines.
Oh, okay.
When
Thank
I was
you.
in adopted lines, where you put on your clip-on tie, your penny loafer shoes from Payless,
Mm,
and you stand in these people. It's like an adoption line party. So these
right.
couples come, different couples, different sizes, whatever.
Yep.
So what they do is when they get to you, you have your name on this big old sheet tag thing that you wear.
Okay.
So they look at your information, they
Mm-hmm.
put your arm up, they put your arm down, they spin you around, they
Mm,
touch your face, touch your hair or whatever. But it was always the light skinned people who was getting picked first. I'm fat and dark skinned, so I was really
yeah.
not on the totem pole of getting picked. You gotta be like light skinned and skinny and tall and good hair and and,
Mm,
and, and stuff like
gotcha.
that. I'm fat with a lazy eye and nappy hair, so they was not. It was not. And then
Mm,
I'm having sensory issues, so I'm yelling, I'm screaming, I'm
right.
rocking, um, you know, um, you know, I'm having these emotional
Right.
behaviors in
Mm-hmm.
the adoption line party. So these people looking at me like, what's wrong with him? Why is he even here?
Right. Right.
So
Little did they know what you had inside you, did they?
no,
Yeah. Yeah. So did you end up in foster care at one point, and how was that?
I ended up in foster care when I was 4. Well, 4 going on 5,
Okay.
because Big Tommy, which is my birth father at that time, he was trying to work a job, and I guess my rocking and yelling and throwing my feces and peeing everywhere and peeing
Yep.
on myself and stuff of that nature, um, you know, constantly crying and screaming was too much for him, because
Mm-hmm.
he told Tina, which is my birth mother, that you had to be cheating with somebody retarded, because he can't be my son,
Gotcha.
and
Right.
you need to do something about this.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm skipping a lot of parts of this story because
Right.
it's long. but
Mm-hmm.
but basically, I got in foster care because he took a gun that was in his red F-150 Ford truck, and he kept putting it in my mouth and trying to squeeze the gun
Oh,
and pull the trigger, but the gun kept jamming. So when the gun kept jamming, he kept getting really upset, and then he kept pistol whipping me with the gun. Mind you, Tina's on the porch watching him constantly pistol whip me
right.
with this gun. Okay,
Right.
she didn't move. If I guess for her, it was like watching a Lifetime movie. So
Right.
the neighbors in the duplex that we was at, because we was in the duplex, so the neighbors was
Mm-hmm.
taking out the trash, and he saw what was going on. He took out the trash and fought Big Tommy to get him to stop. His
Gotcha.
wife grabbed me, ran in the house, locked her doors, and called the police. At this time, neighbors across the street, stuff like that, was outside,
Right.
looking.
Right. So very traumatic experiences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's how I ended up in foster care. But I mean, again, at that time, foster care I think was more so of, let me get this yellow check for $2,400 a month. Let me get these clothing vouchers and stuff like that, and let me get these food vouchers.
Yeah.
I
So
don't
you
think
didn't,
they could.
yeah, you didn't really feel the love there either, right? You weren't getting
Oh
the
no,
support you needed at that time either.
I've been in
Wow.
17 of them.
Yeah.
So
Well, and
it,
then on top of it, you had a significant event happen with a best friend. Do you want to
yeah,
tell us about that?
my best friend's name is Tony Rodriguez. You know what I mean? God rest the legend. You know what I mean? Like, if it wasn't for Tony, I
Mm-hmm.
probably wouldn't be where I am today. Tony was a little bit older than me. I met
Mm-hmm.
Tony when I was 7. I'm in the park in New York. I'm nonverbal, and some kids was picking on me and taking my stuff. And Tony came out of nowhere. He was this big, tall, looked like he was muscular Puerto Rican kid. He had to be almost 8 years old. He
Mm-hmm.
got those boys off of me. He took me to his house. There was 11 of them in his apartment. And he took me to his house. And his mom said it was enough rice and fish for me. And, it was 40 something people in my grandma's apartment, her 1 bedroom. So
Yeah.
11 people was like, it was like me being on vacation. You understand what I'm saying? So,
Um,
Tony, he taught me a lot of stuff.
yeah.
But
Mm.
unfortunately, again, some people, they make decisions, and Tony was making decisions to help to get extra money for his family and for me.
Okay.
Yeah, but the way he got money wasn't the way he was supposed to get money.
Right.
So
Right.
unfortunately, he got killed because he was skimming off the top of drug money.
Right. Right.
So,
Trying to do what he had to do, but he knew he was probably putting himself in line of danger. Yeah.
when his
But
when
he
you know
really
when
was
he
a bright spot for you, all right?
Tony, I always talk about Tony, but I think, well, I was 10 when he passed away. He was about to turn 11. And,
Uh-huh.
when the way they circled, and the way he got shot by people in the circle, and his head exploded and went
Oh,
everywhere. And some of his brain particles landed on me.
oh
And I'm
my
watching,
gosh.
I'm watching
I'm sorry.
one of the closest people in my life pass away in front of my face. And then when they put guns in your face, you nonverbal, they do the normal stuff. If you tell anybody, whatever, I guess they didn't realize I was nonverbal. So who I'm telling? I'm
Right.
not
Right.
telling nobody.
Right. Oh,
So, but
yeah.
eventually, what I'm saying, again, karma has a way of
Right.
moving. You don't have
Yeah.
to move because karma will.
Yeah. No, you make a great point. So all of this trauma, all of these struggles, like not only just internally, but externally, how did you find that your passion? Like, how did you break out?
Well, I wouldn't call it breakout because, still at 41, I have autism. And I still go
Right.
through my struggles and challenges or whatnot and issues, but I found better coping skills and better
Right.
ways to deal and embrace with my autism currently. But
I love that you embraced it. Yes.
mhm,
Yeah.
you know,
But did you find, was it through all of this that you found your passion for your music and all of the things that you're doing nowadays? Like, how
well,
did that come about?
I had no choice. In my grandma's house, either you was going to watch TV in or you was going to go to church. Well, you probably did both. I mean, but
Mm-hmm.
church was the mecca. That was it. That was either the church or the streets in her house. Those are only two choices you
Yep.
had. You was not going to shadow the fence on either one of them. If you're going to be in the streets, you're going to go all the way. If you're going to be in church, you're going to go all the way.
Gotcha.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
of course, I'm running inside the church. They trying to catch the Holy Ghost, wigs coming off, eyelashes, normal stuff. You understand what I'm saying? They trying to catch the Holy Ghost. I'm running and yelling and screaming. You know what I mean? While the choir is trying to move or whatever. So she got the organ player to, agree to teach me how to play the organ. So
Okay.
instead of him teaching me how to play the organ, he signed me up for this band camp in upstate New York. So
Hmm.
back then they was going for 3 months, not 3 weeks. So, we was going almost 3 months at band camp. And
Right.
my sister Big Patty, she went with me to band camp because she was my voice. I couldn't,
Hmm.
like speak or whatever. So she was my voice. So she forced me to learn how to play the tuba
Gotcha.
and the
Yeah.
trombone and the trumpet.
Oh, wow.
I mean, again, this lady's almost 6'9", 6'10". She's a big lady. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
She's a big patty. So, ain't nobody telling her no. I mean, even if they did, you understand what I'm saying?
Right, right. She's having her way.
Ain't nobody telling her no. So, what I mean? Like, she forced me, and then in turn, my grandmother signed me up for school band.
Gotcha.
So my other sister, because I got triplet sisters, my other sister used to come up in there in my band class. You would have thought she went to the school. I don't even know how my sister was able to do that because every time had band practice, my sister was up in there.
Oh, funny. Yeah.
Like they made sure, I mean, again, this is why I tell people I have 10
Hmm.
brothers and 9 sisters. My brothers didn't take punches for me, my sisters did.
Okay.
You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? My
Uh-huh.
sisters was
Yep.
fighting off bullies and taking punches
Yep.
and giving. My brothers
They were your
watching.
protection and your guidance. Yeah. Yeah. So, did you start learning talking through the music, or did it just kind of come about where all of a sudden you just were able? Like, how did all that kind of
I
like,
was in I was in speech therapy and peer speech therapy. You know what I mean? Because like when
hmm.
Anna Gibbs couldn't do my speech therapy sessions, her daughter Kimberly Gibbs, she was my peer speech therapist.
Okay.
Well, I mean, legally, she wasn't like licensed as a peer
Right,
speech therapist.
right.
You know what I'm saying? She used
But
to
that's
help
what
me.
she served. She basically was that to you, your mentor
Right, right.
almost.
Right, right,
Hmm.
right. So she served where Anna Gibbs could not serve,
Gotcha.
and it was that hooked on phonics. My cue cards from my sisters, sticky notes everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean the white Bible with the yellow highlights. I mean, I used to throw pots, plates, cups, mugs. I used to throw silverware. My sisters always used to say they don't care. They don't care how
Right.
bad I mess up that kitchen. They don't care how many
Mm,
times I throw fits and kick and scream. When I'm done, they still gonna teach me how to read. I'm still
oh,
gotta learn how to spell. I still gotta learn how to pronounce words and syllables and pronouns.
yeah. So they just persevered right along with you.
I wouldn't call it persevering. I mean, I got my butt whooped on countless. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't call it
Yeah.
persevering, but I would
Well,
call
they
it
never
like,
gave up on you though, right?
right, I would call
Yeah.
it they stubborn, I'm stubborn, so somebody.
Yep. Yep. Just continue to grow. Very cool. So I mean, there were some bright lights in there, but just glimmers, I guess, inside of all that darkness, but something kept you going. What was it that like kept you going?
So you have to understand, I don't want to paint this picture like struggle wasn't real because,
Right. I hear the struggles. That's what I'm saying. What kept you
I,
going though? How did you get through it?
well, I mean, after Tony passed away, it was a lot. It was a lot. And the thing is I got upset. I got upset because at that time, between like 10 to 16, at that time, I was really trying to commit suicide. I was really
Mm,
trying to let, like, I mean,
yep.
like I tried bleach, hanging myself, cutting myself. Like I tried to get hit by a car. I tried the normal stuff, but it
Right.
wouldn't work. I tried
You're
drowning
just
myself in the
broken.
tub.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? But it wouldn't
so
work.
much pain.
So then it was just like, well, you won't let me die. So
Oh,
what do you want me to do? Like,
right.
like, like literally,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really trying to die here. You're not giving me no help. You're not assisting me. No type of way. You keep making me drink liquid charcoal every time I go to the hospital. Every time I try to do something, instantly somebody show up. I promise I'll be in the house by myself, but every time I do something, instantly somebody show up. So I mean,
Right.
so it was just like, okay, I wave the white flag. You win, God.
Yeah. Yeah. So as you're going through this, and you don't want to keep going on, but you have to keep going on, you found a passion somewhere, right? And do you feel like that passion helped you little by little keep moving forward? Because obviously you still have lots of pain inside. You have to have still a lot of emotional struggles, but how do you handle the day to day and what brought that passion about?
Well, music became the mother I never had. Music became the
Mm,
father I never had. You know, at that time, with all this stuff going on, music was the only connection point. With all the
mm-hmm.
darkness and all the tragedy that was going on, music was the only thing that was stable enough to stay in my life and don't leave my
Right,
life.
got it.
So, music became like I was learning how to play instruments. And then when I was hit 15, my cousin was supposed to be babysitting me, but he didn't want to babysit me because he wanted to go to his girlfriend's house. So
Gotcha.
he dropped me off at another guy's house, but he didn't know that guy was going to a basement and hooking up with other guys to learn how to play
Mm,
music.
oh, okay.
Yeah, he was just like, "Look, you can go ahead and watch him from this hour to this hour. So I'm gonna be back, but
Right.
I'm trying to chill with the girl." So he didn't know that the guy gave me an Acer laptop, showed me how to blend live instruments into a digital musical platform.
Interesting.
He didn't know that the guy showed me BPMs, beat per minute. He didn't know that the guy showed me kicks, the proper way to loop sounds, the proper way to blend and merge melodies and harmonies, the proper way to
Mm-hmm.
sample, to make it legal. See,
Right.
these guys were teaching me instead of just having me sit there and watch them.
Right. Right. And then you connected with that. Like you said, that became your mother and your father, and it became what you immersed yourself in. Very
Yeah.
cool. So, what inspired you then to become an autism activist? And then how did that journey begin?
7 years ago, I became an autism activist. First, I became an autism advocate because I promised I was in Georgia. I'm DJing major fashion shows. I'm DJing,
Mm-hmm.
corporate events. I'm DJing everywhere in Georgia. So I'm pretty, at that time I'm getting paid like 400-500 a week. You know what I'm saying? I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was some money because that was extra money than what I was already getting. So that 400-500 a week, you know what I'm saying? That was
Right,
guaranteed.
right.
So a friend of mine, I told her I wanted to go to Walmart. If anybody from Georgia, you know I-285. So I was raised with her. So her
Mm-hmm.
son had severe autism. So his level is probably 3 or maybe, I don't know if it's higher than 3, but
Yeah,
he,
3 or 4. Mm-hmm.
he was nonverbal. He couldn't speak not a word at all. He had, had tics and different situations going on with him. And again, I've been knowing her since she was probably like 8, 9 years old.
Gotcha.
So she saw me coming up. So
Mm-hmm.
she saw my difficulties and my issues. So she felt like I need to go to her church and tell people that I have autism and I use the bathroom on myself and I have sensory issues and stuff. And at that time, man, I'm in Atlanta. I'm in music studios. I'm in with some big wigs. And
Yep.
you want me to go to your church and tell people I use the bathroom on myself and I got autism? No,
Right,
ma'am. Ma'am, I was not trying to do that. I was not trying
right. You're
to
trying to
go.
put that behind you.
I was trying to, as we say in the African American church, I'm trying to sweep it under the rug. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I'm trying to sweep, I'm trying to sweep it under the rug. But she was bent on me telling my testimony, how
yep.
God touched me, how God blessed me to be different, how God gave me a voice. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, well, can't we just write them a check, donate some food or something? Like, why we gotta like
Mm-hmm.
people don't need to know me. And
Right.
she stopped her car Listen, ma'am, it was raining real hard on I-285. Okay, so I didn't know where Walmart was, and I didn't know how to get back to my apartment. She said, "I will leave you right here in this rain."
Oh,
And ma'am, I'm big. I don't like to walk far. So
right.
she had me. As soon as she said that she gonna leave.
Mm-hmm.
So I agreed to go to her church. Long story short, it was the biggest blessing of my life because
Mm-hmm.
it was autism mothers there, fathers, grandmothers,
Yeah,
caregivers, volunteers, and they was embracing me, but still trying to ask questions about my story and my upbringing.
right.
And I realized that it was never about me. God didn't give me this voice so he can hear me speak. God gave me this voice so he can hear me speak for others who don't have
I love it. That's
one.
amazing.
And I've been doing that ever since.
Awesome. That is, I mean, we can't make change if we don't put ourselves out there, right? And I think the big part with you is that you're you found something that you could connect with. And I think that's the case for lots of people who have autism. It's finding that connection for them and then letting them go, letting them
But
nourish
but
it.
but but the thing is with parents, fathers and mothers alike, grandmothers, whoever,
Mhm.
we when you hear the word autism, you instantly become the helmet for your child. You instantly become the shoulder pads for your child. You instantly become
Yep,
the brakes for your child.
yep.
Nothing
Mm-hmm.
is going to hurt them. Nobody's going to scar them.
Right.
I'm going to be here. But
Mhm.
the thing is, you want to be there and you need to be there, but you need to allow them to breathe from that helmet that you put on them. You need to allow them to have some time with them shoulder pads off. You need to allow them to be able to breathe because God forbid, once you gone, the real world ain't gonna care. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
I jumped off the porch. That's a slang term, but I became on my own when I was almost 16 years old. The world didn't
Right.
care that I had autism.
No.
I they I done been like I was in Brooklyn and they was like, "Oh, you fit the description." So I was
Mm-hmm.
with guys and they searching me and doing whatever they doing. They didn't care I had autism. They didn't care that I had problems speaking. They didn't
Right.
care because I looked just like the next guy.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, if we don't prepare our kids, if we don't
Yep.
give them real life lessons, if we don't teach them real life skills that they can use in this real world, we are crippling our own children.
I 100% agree with you. I think that's a huge piece we're missing. And, we don't want to hurt them, so we coddle them, but that doesn't give them the skills to grow and be independent. And like you said, eventually every one of us is left alone. So we
I mean,
have
I
to figure
wish
out how to
God,
do it.
I wish I had somebody to cuddle me. I mean, I'm so
Hmm.
used to, when my birth mom went to family court and she said that we don't want Marcus because he's too retarded for us. Tommy don't beat the rest of the kids. He just beat Marcus, and Marcus was the biggest mistake that I or Tommy has ever done.
Hmm. And you have to carry
Now,
that.
no, well, yeah, but now 37 years later, she wants to pop back up in the picture because her son
Hmm.
that somebody else showed her on magazine covers. Now she tells these people that's my son now. I ain't seen
Yeah,
you in 37 years.
right,
So
right.
let's keep that same energy when you was in family court. When I was 4, let's keep that same energy.
Yeah, yeah. So you're involved in some legislation, correct?
Yes,
What is that? Like, what type of legislation are you trying to push through or advocate for?
I want better laws. I want better rights and benefits and programs that affect autism individuals and families. I want more money given to autism families and individuals. I want better therapy opportunities. I want better work opportunities. Don't slap us in a cashiering situation. Don't slap us at Walmart. Don't slap us at Macy's.
Hmm.
Let us get job training with the head nurse at the hospital. Let us get job training with the head doctor at the hospital. Let us get job training with the engineers. Let's get job training with politicians, firemen, police officers.
Yep.
I've talked to police officers. Let us train. It's called autism training for police because
Hmm.
you don't know how to talk to us, and we may not know how to talk to you. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying?
Hmm.
We you have to learn us, whether it's
Yep.
police, people,
Yes, you
ambulance,
do.
whatever it is. You have to learn us. And if we're nonverbal, there's still 99 more ways for us to communicate to you
Mm-hmm.
effectively. So you just have to learn our communication like we have to learn your communication. You
Yes.
cannot treat us like you treat Joe Blow or Johnny down the street. We have our own uniqueness and our own way of communicating and operating. So whether it's police officers, whether it's teachers, whether it's superintendents, whatever, we have to learn the autism way. And that's what
Yes.
it is. We have to
Yep.
learn the autism way.
Mm-hmm.
And we cannot just learn it from parents or guardians or siblings. We have to learn it for people like us, for people like
Yes.
me who actually have autism.
Right. Right. It needs to be immersed in our society that it's we we tend to be, I always say we tend to push so many different agendas out there to have, sensitivities for a lot of all these other groups and things like that, but we really forget about people with disabilities and autism, and that you guys have a special, unique way, but we have to figure it out, right? And
The
that
issue
is,
is we
that's
don't
on
look like
us.
we got Down syndrome. If I look
Hmm.
like I had Down syndrome or another situation like that, then people will be more sympathetic. But because I look like Rick, Jason,
Right.
or Brandon, because I look like Rick, Jason, or Brandon, the sympathy, 99% of it goes out the window.
Yeah,
It's like
because
you
they
gotta
can't see it. Hmm.
Right. It's like you gotta show people a badge or something like that. Like, hi, I'm Marcus. I have autism.
Yep.
But nobody wants to constantly keep saying autism or they autistic. At the end of the
Hmm.
day, I say autism because I wear my flag proudly. But there are a lot of people who may
Are
not want to say autism, who may not
right.
want to say autistic, who
Hmm.
may um, characterize or identify themselves as something else. At the end of the day, however they identify themselves, we still one big family. And at the end of the day, we have to be there for each other.
I agree. Wonderful message. So we're running out of time, but I have one last question for you. What what would you say to families raising children of autism, or give yourself wisdom of your younger self to make it through, or give you hope that there could be something better? What would you give? What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, I would say, first of all, and I know this may sound a little hallmarkish, but it's the truth. We have to stand on God's purpose and his divine for our lives. Whether you believe in God, Yahweh, Jesus Christ,
Hmm.
whatever your higher power is, if you're a Muslim, if you're a Buddhist, if you non-denomination, whatever your higher power is, we have to lean on that first and ask for guidance. We have to know that autism is just a title and it's just a name. It ain't no different from an anger issue, bipolar, depression. Ain't no different from anything that man will give us medication to try to help cope and obtain. At the end of the day, yes, you autistic. Yes, you have autism. But that having autism doesn't mean that you can't touch greatness.
Yep.
We have to see the individual person and the gifts and the talents that we have. We have to show the world what we can do. We can't let autism be our stumbling block, our roadblock. No,
Right.
success is wide open, and we have to go towards success. Yes, you're going to have challenges. Yes, you're going to have situations. Yes, you may move different from your brother or from your sister, but that don't mean that you can't move at all. Continue to push towards your greatness. Continue to reach beyond your infinity. Because they counted Marcus out. They counted me out for years.
Hmm.
Nobody believed that I was going to do anything. They thought I was just going to be in a mental institution locked up somewhere on medication, on Ritalin, on Paxil, on Depakote, Seroquel, Zoloft. I
Right.
was on all. Nobody believed in me, but God said, soon as the devil counted you out, I didn't. So
Hmm.
at the end of the day, I ain't nobody special. If God can do it for me, I know He can do it for you.
Yeah. And our paths just look different sometimes, right? Your path just looks different, but it doesn't mean you don't have a path. I
Yes,
love
ma'am.
it. Wonderful. Well, it's been so amazing talking with you, Marcus. And then I would like to share some of the links to your bios and your histories along with this video. And I just think you're going to touch even more lives of people with every day that you're around. And
Well,
It
I
was
will
just
say this on your platform, you dropped this bomb exclusive 2025. Well, yeah, 2026 officially. The 2 hour feature film, the Marcus Boyd story and artistic state of mind, is going to be out everywhere in all the movie
wonderful.
theaters. The trailer is coming out in 2025. It's really the first of its kind where you're going to see the real story of somebody growing up with autism, foster care, mental
I love it.
hospitals, group homes, and everything else. And it's not just what happens to this individual when they get older, but it's about what happened to them while they struggling to
All the way
deal
through.
with what we have. So that's an exclusive
Mm,
bomb on your platform. Yes, the movie's coming out.
I love it.
The children's book, Autism Royalty Kingdom Story, is coming out at the
Mm,
beginning of 2025 by renowned author Jennifer Rose Holly out here in Vicksburg, Mississippi. She's helping me with the book. You definitely want to read the book. So I mean, it's a lot of
mhm.
good stuff on the way. The clothing line is on the way. A lot of good stuff
I'm
is on the
so
way.
excited. Yes, I can't wait. And I think we should maybe talk again in as things get moving along and you can share more about these amazing things that you're doing. And I just love how you inspire people. You've inspired me, and it's been so amazing talking with you today.
Yes,
So
ma'am. Thank you
let's
so much for
stay
that.
in touch. All right, Marcus?
Yes, ma'am.
Take care. Thank you again for everything. Have a wonderful night. God bless you.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.